Hello and good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. My name is Mackenzie Metcalf, and I'm the Executive Director of the Canadian Alliance of Student Associations. We are here today to launch the Talent for Canada campaign to address the current talent status and crisis in Canada. Today we have with us the Chair of CASA, Christian Fotang, Benoit-Antoine Bacon, President of Carleton University, and Matthew Holmes, Senior Vice President of Policy and GR at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Once we finish the remarks, we will open for questions. Over to Christian.
Thank you, Mackenzie, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christian Fotang, and I'm the chair for the Canadian Alliance of Student Associations, and I also serve as the Vice President External Affairs for the University of Alberta Students' Union. In partnership with Universities Canada and the Chamber of Commerce, represented today by Dr. Bacon and Matthew Holmes, CASA calls on the government to address the barriers and lack of supports leading to Canada's talent shortage that is holding back students and, in turn, the future development of our country. As an undergraduate soon entering the workforce, I'm anxious, frustrated, and nervous. Anxious because it feels as if I'm entering into a workforce that will be limited in opportunities. Frustrated because, like many of my peers, it feels like we've done everything right, but the doors that were set to open once we got an education don't seem to be opening. And I'm nervous because as the cost of living continues to rise, I fear that I may be priced out of an education. Ultimately, a student's goal upon completing their education is to easily enter the workforce. For many students, this process can be made easier through work-integrated learning opportunities. The more opportunities that can provide students the first-hand work experience that will help them enter the job market and in turn strengthen the Canadian economy. I know many young, talented researchers at the forefront of cutting-edge Canadian innovation. And while the work these researchers do provides a sense of hope for the future, it is clear that they need more help now more than ever. Graduate and postdoctoral level funding needs to be bolstered in order to attract and retain top talent. This talent shortage is not affecting domestic students alone. International students are a huge driving force behind future growth in Canada. However, visa processing backlogs and restrictions present good reasons for international students to look to other countries for opportunities. The US, UK, and Germany are creating attractive opportunities by investing in science and research for their students. If Canada wants to be a globally competitive country, we need to once again make our country an attractive and effective place to study. Now is when we must see action towards funding graduate research. Now is when we must reduce barriers for international students and create work-integrated learning opportunities. Unleashing Canada's research potential means unleashing the potential of our students. We believe that Canada can grow towards economic prosperity, driven by students, but the seeds needed to nurture that growth must be planted now. Thank you.
Well, first, thank you so much, Christian and Mackenzie. It's great to be partnering with you on this initiative. Good afternoon. Bonjour tout le monde. Thank you for being here today. I'm Benoit-Antoine Bacon, President of Carleton University. Last year, over 1.4 million students attended a Canadian university. That includes 30,000 students at my own institution, Carleton, right here in Ottawa. Ils étudient, ils font de la recherche dans de nombreux domaines, les sciences, l'ingénierie, les affaires, les arts. Ils sont unis dans leur désir de contribuer à la société canadienne et de bâtir un monde meilleur. Ils rêvent de tirer parti de leur expérience universitaire pour se lancer dans une carrière stimulante et pour aider à résoudre les plus grands problèmes auxquels nous faisons face avec des nouvelles idées et des nouvelles façons de faire. They are the future of Canadian society. I see my role as supporting them and their success. But I'm worried. Are we doing all that we can as a society to support the leaders of tomorrow? I am worried. At a time where the knowledge economy is the name of the game, Canada is at risk of falling further behind in investments in fundamental science compared to peer nations. In 2020, Canada's gross domestic expenditures on research and development amounted to 1.7% of GDP, well below the OECD average of 2.16%. Meanwhile, and Christian mentioned this, the United States are reinvesting. They've recently laid the groundwork to dramatically grow funding for science over the next 5 years, and they're not alone. Germany, the UK, and many others are upping their investments in science and in technology. We need to match their ambition. We need to match their actions here in Canada, or we will lose the race for talent. Our students and researchers have the ideas and the ambition to advance our country, but they need sustained reinvestments to unlock their full potential. We're calling on Canada to reinvest, and it really is an investment, not an expense. Let me emphasize that in our federal research ecosystem. A reasonable figure that would bring us closer to par with similar nations is approximately $1 billion annually. Ces investissements nous aideront à rivaliser avec les autres pays pour attirer et retenir les talents et pour générer la recherche et l'innovation, y compris l'innovation sociale, dont nous avons besoin pour rester compétitifs dans l'économie de la connaissance et pour résoudre les défis auxquels nous sommes actuellement confrontés en tant que société. The investments we're seeking are essential and increasingly urgent. And I can promise you, because I see them every day on our beautiful Carleton campus, the next generation of researchers, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Canada, and the impact they will have on our world, the positive impact, will provide significant returns on investment. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Holmes. I'm the Senior Vice President of Policy and Government Relations with the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Benoit, Mackenzie, and Christian, for your important work. It's significant that we are standing here today. Business success, economic growth, and the overall prosperity of our country all depend on Canada's ability to attract and retain the next generation of talent, including students at the post-secondary level. And there are a few concerns that unite Canada's business community more than the challenges around workforce development, locating, and holding on to that talent. Ce constat est vrai lorsque je parle avec nos membres issus de différents secteurs d'activité, notamment l'aviation et l'aérospatiale, la cybersécurité, les sciences de vie et les soins de santé, pour n'en citer que quelqu'un. Ces membres, tous secteurs confondus, sont préoccupés par la capacité du Canada à attirer et à retenir les meilleurs talents pour faire croître les entreprises. It goes so deep that when we talk with business leaders about what keeps them up at night, finding and retaining the right talent is the most common answer. And this cuts across all sectors of our economy. We have heard the stories of labor shortages, particularly shortages in skilled talent that are impacting businesses' ability to succeed today and grow for tomorrow. What was a tight labor market pre-pandemic has now turned into a labor crisis, slowing down the country's economic recovery and impeding growth. As the world's economies recover from the pandemic, the global competition for talent is already escalating. As a result, Canada needs to take the initiative thoughtfully but aggressively to attract capable new students. It's an essential step in bolstering the supply chain for talent. But, and this is crucial for business, we have to do more than just attracting talented students to come to our country. That's only the first step. Where this flows into business and economic growth is that we need these talented people to stay in Canada. Recent grads from our educational institutions, our post-secondary institutions, are among the world's brightest. They are already here and integrated. They have begun to put down roots, and they have been trained in our credentials for our workforce. If business drives job creation and growth, people are the engine. And to sustain that growth, Canadian businesses need to fill labor needs. They need to fill them yesterday. That's why I stand here with you today on behalf of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce and our members, calling on the federal government to strengthen Canada's ability to attract and retain global talent and reduce barriers for international students to study and work in Canada. This is an important opportunity for Canada, but it is even more than that. Our collective prosperity depends on it, which is why we need to get started right now. Thank you.
Thank you.